Thank you so much, Shakir and
Yeah,
Adnan, for giving me this opportunity today, and
no worries.
thanks everyone for joining us today. I'll I'll kick off my presentation today. I'm going to talk about Microsoft Business Applications and their convergence. It's a hot topic nowadays. Microsoft is actually taking everything from finance operations, supply chain management, world, I would say almost everything, to Power Platform. Everything is getting towards Dataverse nowadays. So we are going to touch few key points, how this is happening in what's going on from the financial operations side, what's going on from the CRM side, and what's happening in the Power Platform side. So it covers all the conversions from the all applications, almost all applications within Microsoft Business Applications. My name is Faisal Fareed, and I'm Microsoft Dynamics 65 Financial Operations Solution Architect. I have recently started my own firm with the name of One Dynamics, so I'm very pleased and honored to say I'm the managing director and the founder of One Dynamics. So One Dynamics is providing a solution across Microsoft Business applications and Azure services. Our website is coming very soon. Stay tuned. I'll be sharing more updates on our LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter pages about One Dynamics. So technically, I'm a Microsoft Dynamics 65 and Power Platform architect. Now I'm working in my own organization. I've been in the organization in the field since 2007, so almost 15 or 16 years of experience. Last year, I was awarded as a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Award, and also last year, I got an opportunity to get Microsoft Certified Trainers. Uh, let's see if I get some time this year to renew it, but as of now, it's still valid. I'm the active blogger, coder, and the user group enthusiast. I have started the Pakistan user group and ANZ Dynamics 65 FinOps team in Australia and New Zealand market. I live in Australia in Melbourne nowadays. I'm in Pakistan on holidays, so I really didn't want to lose this opportunity to represent any of the events happening at Pakistan level. So it's my pleasure and honor to be here at Tech Day Pakistan. So thank you, all the organizers there. Uh, as being a technical person, I've been writing a code since 2005. Even when I started professionally working on AX and 65, I was writing a code in .NET languages, in C Sharp, in C++, in Java, and different other languages. Uh, so today's agenda is how the Microsoft Business Application Convergence is happening. Then we will see the how the UI user interface unification is happening and what does it mean. Then we will talk about the data and the events, and later we will summarize it. And if there will be any question and answer, I'm more than happy to answer those questions. So just to save some bandwidth, since I'm in Pakistan, just to save some bandwidth, I'm just turn off my video and then okay. So first of all, like about all these business applications and the convergence, you definitely you have seen this feedback loop here. So what happens? It starts with the customer engagement. Then we optimize the operations here. When we say it's optimized operations, we are talking about the things happening within finance and operations. And then we perform some transform products there using some ETL terminologies and technologies. And then using the Power Platform, we are actually empowering the employees, giving them more power so they can create uh, Power Apps, Power Portals, and Power BIs, and so on, using data of financial operations in Dataverse. So the data is coming from everywhere. So the key part is here data, and on top of that one, we put some intelligence on it, which is the AI part here. and then it makes the complete digital feedback loop here. On your left-hand side, you can see there are different apps of Microsoft Dynamics 365, which includes marketing, sales, commerce, and services. And then what we are going to talk about is financial operations. I'm not going to talk about specifically about financial operations, but since finance operations has its own database, which is an Azure SQL server, in rest of the applications, they have their own database, which is a Dataverse. So the main topic or main challenge would be is how we can get data from finance operations into the Dataverse. So there are many out-of-the-box features available, which includes your data integrator and so on. I'll talk about it a little bit later. And then onto your right-hand side of this slide, we have different tools which we can use on top of your data to leverage more functionalities. So if we talk about Microsoft ecosystem there, it has 5 pillars on it. And at the end, at the bottom, you see it's a very old diagram. This is where it still says common data services. So data was used to be called common data services previously, and now it's called Dataverse. So it's an old slide. Then if we see it vertically, so on from starting from the leftmost, it has a productivity. So whatever the outcome we are going to see, it's going to happen through different tools, which would be your Power BI, Outlook, Skype, and Teams, OneDrive, and I thought someone talked about the SharePoint list in details at the very beginning of the event. So we are leveraging one of the other productivity tools. Then we have a second pair is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Applications. So that's this, as we talked about in the previously, this is a combination of multiple applications, sales, customer service, field services, project services, and marketing, financial operations, and then we have now a sales navigator and the LinkedIn recruiter. So everything is integrating seamlessly with Power Platform. Once we get into the Power Platform, and the database is Dataverse, which is the bottom part horizontally here. Then the third pillar is Azure and data analytics. Once you get your data into your Power Application Platform, which is a Dataverse here, you can leverage Azure services, data, and analytics services on top of that one. Then we continue our integration with the third-party applications. You can have your app source marketplace where you can create your own applications and upload it there, and the data will come from your common data services. You can integrate, you can bring your other data sources into the Dataverse and then use those as a data sources on top of your applications. You can create your purpose-built application apps, which is your custom mobile apps with Power Apps. You can compose your workflows and integrate with flows there. You have your business processes there, and that's all happening with common data model. So you are actually getting data from multiple sources. If you talk about in an example, Microsoft Dynamics may have a different data structure, Oracle will have a different data structure, SAP will have a different data structure. So what we are doing, we are actually getting the data from different sources and getting into a one model, a one format. So that will be your common data model, and all the applications will be built on top of the common data model. So these are the 5 top distinct pillars of Microsoft Stack. So if you want to have I would say, like, this is what I do, always keep these slides on my desk or a printout. And if you want to talk to the customers, then it will be a good summary from Microsoft. So again, the aim is to get the data from financial operations into the Dataverse. Why I'm focusing again and again on financial operations is not being the reason, like my core background is finance and operations, but the reason is the data to get the data from financial operations will be more crucial, because finance and operations holds all your finance data, your inventory, your sales, everything will fit into your financial operations. So at the end of the day, if you want to build some reports on top of your financials. And in our previous session, we saw the Zishkan was talking about auditing system, and then in order to get the data from your financial operating system, we can easily use a Power Platform. We can converge all the business applications, get the data into your data works, and create the Power Apps on top of Power financial operations data. So it will make life uh, very easy and stream for your auditors too. Now, what's happening here, if we talk about the platform convergence, FNO data is SQL, and we are pushing from FNO, we are pushing from Dataverse, and uh, that's that's what we are doing. We are actually merging the data into a one format within the Dataverse, so that this logo which we are showing here onto the uh, right bottom side, where we have a data into the Dataverse. Once we get data into the Dataverse, we can leverage Power BI, Power Apps, Power Virtual Agents, and Power Automate on top of that one. Uh, so that's unified experience. What's happening with a unified experience? So again, we have a serious platform, and across that one we have a different tiles there, which field services, customer services, marketing, and project services, and so on. These are the different apps, all collaborating with CDS platform there. I don't see FNO there. Okay, so we bring FNO, which is a financial operations there, and then we merge it through integrations. So as you can see, now it becomes a one part here onto the top, onto the right hand side through integrations. Back in the days, in AX 2012, AX 2012 was the on-premises version of financial operations, which is a dynamic 365 finance and operations, or sometimes you call is dynamic 365 supply chain. So back in the days, it was the on-premises version, and it was AX 2012. Now, in AX 2012, we used to write some custom web services and integration platforms, integrations. Uh, it was a lot of code we used to write. Now, what's happening with the addition of Power Platform, we are integrating Dataverse with FNO SQL servers seamlessly. And how we are doing this one? There are out of the box tools available. You can say data integrators. So data integrators sits within Power Platform, and it's an admin uh, experience. You just have to go to your admin portal, and then you have to configure your data integrator. You have to define the connections where you have to define your data sources. One of the data source would be your financial operations. So data integrator will be very helpful when you are integrating data from financial operations to Dataverse or vice versa in a huge volume. It's a batch process. It's not a live sync. You have to schedule it, and it will go at a certain time of the day. It will go and retrieve the data from financial operations, put into the Dataverse, and vice versa. It will push the data from Dataverse to your financial operations at a certain time of the day. Then Microsoft introduced 2 years ago almost dual write. So the dual write, the concept is now we want to have a non-admin experience. Not only admins can go and configure the dual write and create some steps here and there, and then configure uh, the integration. So Microsoft said, okay, let's go into the financial operations itself, and then we can show you how to configure the dual write here. I'll quickly show all these points in my demo part wherever possible. Because the only issue for any speaker to show all these things is the environment. So sometimes we really don't want to show customers environment. So what I'll see wherever possible, I'll try to show all these way to find data integrator, dual write, and then we have the virtual entities. Virtual entities, in my opinion, this is the most powerful feature out of these three, data integrator and dual write. The virtual entities are you can get data from any data source within Dataverse. And one of those data sources would be financial operations. So you just have to configure your virtual entities within Dataverse, within from the Dynamics 365 site, which is customer engagement site. You just have to configure it there and define, okay, what is my data source? And by doing so, you need to put the URL of your financial operations environment. I have a complete step-by-step blog about how to configure virtual entities. I have blogged about data integrated, blogged about a series of sessions of dual write. I'll be sharing all my social media handles at the end of the presentation. Please feel free to join me there. Then Microsoft brought another powerful feature, business events. So within finance and operations, what happens if you post an invoice and customer wants to get notified once an invoice get posted within finance and operations? So we will trigger a business event. Business event will have a proper endpoint. That endpoint can be your Power Automate. So we have a Power Automate. We will get the endpoint of that Power Automate and then use that power endpoint within finance and operations to configure business events. Anything happen wherever you want to kick off in an event from business side, it will trigger a business event within finance and operations. Now, Microsoft, all from the Dataverse side, they are working and they have already got few features generally available within Dataverse side. Not what they are saying now, we are talking about the data events. So the data events is sitting within finance and operations, within Dataverse. So business event is something different. And now we are talking about if something happens within Dataverse, let's say an insert happened, an update happened, then we want to trigger an event, then Microsoft is working on data events there. So that's actually a very good, a powerful feature where anyone can trigger a certain process based on their events. And then once we have all those Power Apps built within Dataverse, we can embed all the Power Apps within finance operations. So the platform convergence, which we talked about briefly, is data and the events here. Uh, it's if you are from customer engagement side or you have an experience working with Dynamics 365, you must have an experience writing your own plugins there. Now, from a from a FNO perspective or being a technical person, we don't write plugins in FNO. We that would be the first time when an FNO person will be writing X++ plugins and integrating with finance and operations using business events. And that include all your current operations here. Now, what with this, having said this one, what's happening here? If you see the purple box here is common data services, which is then we have the FNO business events. We have we can extend those events within Dataverse, and then we have FNO virtual entities. Everything sitting within Dataverse now. You can extend those ones, and after extending this one, you can write your sandbox plugins there. You can power automate your CDS connectors using your Azure cloud services. You can use your service bus and functions. And the example would be you can write your e-invoicing on top of that one. Anything, if amount gets updated, or amounts got approved, any invoice get approved, you just want to create an invoice, e-invoice, and then send that invoice to your customer. So these type of things happening right now, we can do so within Dataverse. Now, from financial operations side or from a professional perspective, I would say it's a drawback from the for financial operations people, because if we will not have any work to perform within financial operations, so the financial operations people will have less jobs there, and then we have to learn the X++ plugins, and then we have to start extending those plugins, and now we are extending financial operations within Dataverse now. We are not customizing, we are not extending within financial operations. We are extending within Dataverse now. That is the future which Microsoft is heading to, and currently that's what's happening. And this is why all the seamless integrations are in place. Virtual entities, to override data integrated business events, and to stay in a game, that's where we, including myself, we are learning about how to write business events and extend it, how to write your X++ languages using your X++ plugins. You can extend your Dataverse. So you may not have heard about X++ plugins before, because all the plugins are writing using your own Dynamic 365 language, maybe using your C# language or your JavaScript. But within once we will come into the picture from financial operations side, we are writing plugins using F++ language. So we are using Visual Studio. Within the Visual Studio, we have an extension from Dataverse side, and then we are writing those plugins from there. And on top of that picture, which are so many blue icons there, blue boxes there, sorry. So these are all the different business events which can come into Dataverse. We have we talked about the financial operations business events. We will have marketing business events, sales business events, business central business events, and third party business events, which is really powerful. If you have a web-based application, if you want to trigger an event from that web application, then you can extend that further into your CDS. So just conscious of the time, we have few demos there. I'll see how quickly I can show all these demos. So briefly I'll talk about is you can embed your Canvas app within financial operations. You create your Canvas app, you can embed it. You create your model-driven app, you can embed it. You can use virtual entities to create Power Apps on top of financial operations data. You can create your Power Portals using virtual entities. So now I'll switch to the environment. Okay, so that's the environment there. All right. So what within the financial operations, you can see here we have different Power Apps. You can add an app here, and you can say my Pakistan Tech Day, and you can put your application ID here, and this is the application ID you will create within Power Platform, and you can define your Canvas app here. It should be a wide, or it should be if you want to give any input, sorry, but the size would be the wider or the thin, and then you can define all the legal entities there. Once you put insert, it will start appearing onto the right hand side here. So for every record, let's say this is a customer record. Now we have customers We don't, customer came up with a new type of data field there. Now you don't want to insert this data into your financial operations because this will require or this will follow the the process of writing this into the dev environment first and then deploying this into the UAT. Once UAT signed off, you have to deploy this into your production environment. So it's going to take maybe a day to perform the whole effort. The customer is not going to pay for the whole day. They said, okay, no, we have a limited budget and we don't want to go down the path of customizing FNO at all. Just create a, in that scenario would be create a new Power App. You can get the data from financial operations into your Dataverse using virtual entities. Create a Power App on top of that one, embed that Power App. Either it's a Canvas app or a model-driven app. You can embed both apps here. The app, this is a model-driven app where you have the application ID. You embed your app and it will start appearing over here. Now, if you want to embed a model-driven app here, so you just have to go to your uh, form information, and then you go to your what you call you go to your here and add a new workspace, and this is where you can define your own. Uh, you can add your own Power Portal and Canvas app. So you can add all your Power Apps, Canvas Power Apps, and Power Portals as a workspace here. So this is a concept. It's called workspace here. You once you click onto the any of the workspaces here. Let's say if you go to the work order management, so it opens like this one. So your Canvas app or your Power Portals will start appearing over here within financial operations, and you will not be able to distinguish I'm in the finance operations or I'm in the Dynamics 65 world. So that's how all the convergence is happening. You just need to create different endpoints there. Now switching back to my slide deck, I've only got a 1 more minute left. So in a summary, what's happening is a near real-time business process integrations across systems and organizations. We have uh, we now with the benefit of these ones, we have efficient business processes, which definitely is improving the cash flows for the businesses. We have the productivity gains there. We don't need to write so many codes. It's a no code, low code business model, and then we have the real time visibility. Uh, and it's a decoupled integration. So you don't need to have a tied integrations. And then we can leverage a wider range of Azure and Power Platform ecosystem when designing your solutions of business events. So
Faisal,
now,
sorry to interrupt. I
yep,
think
so,
okay, you are already at the last slide.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
thank
So
you. Yeah.
yeah, so thanks for
Mm.
joining me today. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, here is my LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. And again, if you have any questions, just conscious of the time. If you haven't got a chance to answer any questions from my side, then I'm happy to connect on my LinkedIn where I'm most actively on, and then feel free to ask me questions. Thank you, everyone, for giving this opportunity.